So let's dive into what follow-up strategy looks like. What does that mean for you? And any questions, you guys, go ahead and throw those in the chat box, and we'll certainly get to those. But so diving into follow-up strategy. Exactly what is follow-up strategy? Most people think, oh, following up, I make a couple calls, once in a blue moon. I make certain that I understand. I touch base with them, and quite frankly, it's a good thought, but unless you have something behind it, that's typically where it stays as a thought. How many of us have had a situation where we not even in real estate, but we said we're gonna, do something, and it was somewhat in the future, and we had to keep pushing it off and pushing it off, whether it was a meeting or whether it was, something we said we were going to do for, someone else, or whatever the case may be. Uh, you continue to say yes, and you have great intentions, and have every ounce in you that says I'm going to do it. I'm going to make certain, and it's something that I know I need to do, and yes, it's something that oh yes, this is effective, and yes, all the things resonate with you that yes, I should be doing this. However, in many cases, that's just not what happens. It's just not what happens. 90% of the time, we forget, we prioritize something else. I would say those are the top two. We forget or prioritize something else above that actual connection, that actual follow-up, or that actual new step that we need to take. And unfortunately, things fall through the cracks. It just, DeMarco says all the time, and he says, me, yeah, absolutely. Me too. I would not call myself a person that, I would rely on my memory to, have a great follow-up system in place. It just does not make sense for you to want to, or try to, quite frankly, have that type of follow-up in place based on your memory, because we are attempting to, we know that we have to generate enough prospects to get a sale. We know that we should be tracking enough prospects to understand what that sales cycle looks like, what the time frame looks like. We already know it's going to take 102 days, 90 to 102 days for that sale to actually happen. How many people are we going to speak to between that time? Hopefully a ton. Hopefully we have a lot of leads coming into our pipeline, and if you're using our systems, you absolutely do. And you better bet your bottom dollar that you're not going to remember every single person, every single conversation, every little nuance that the individual has expressed to you that's going to allow you to take and utilize to help them out. You're not going to be able to point that motivation back at them if you don't have a detailed follow-up strategy with a detailed record of exactly where you are in that sales cycle process. It just doesn't make sense for you to assume that that's going to be a good strategy for you. So follow-up strategy, again, is planned series of communications to establish a relationship with the prospect over a period of time. Now, we all say it's a very known nomenclature in real estate that follow-up is key, or that relationship building is where money is made, and all those cliches. But quite frankly, they're true. They're completely true. And unless you can effectively manage them correctly, you're just not going to be very effective in terms of your results. It's just the cold hard truth of it, that you have to be able to manage effectively that follow-up strategy, to build that relationship over time, to communicate effectively over time. Unless you can put that strategy in place, you're going to be losing deal after deal after deal once you look back, because ultimately you're going to get to a point where you say, well, where is my money going? Maybe I'm making some money, maybe I'm not making any money, maybe, I'm getting a couple deals done, but you're saying, well, I believe I can get more done. Where exactly is the hole at? And typically, when most investors that don't have a strategic follow-up strategy in place, when they look back, they say, first and foremost, there were deals in my pipeline I missed. How did I miss this deal? How did I miss that lead? How did I not follow up? How did I not go back and get this one? It just closed a couple months ago. And this happens. It's going to happen even with a robust follow-up system. I was going through my leads just recently, and I saw that a couple deals that we probably could have gotten, went to someone else. They had listed, we made it between our follow-up cycle. They listed that property and ultimately got a closing on it. So, it will happen. You won't get every single deal, but your system should be set up to maximize your ability to try and close each and every deal as possible in your pipeline. All right. So your follow-up strategy is useful for being able to establish how long it takes to convert a lead into a paying customer and should be tracked and measured. Rule number one, track and measure your follow-ups. How many times have you followed up? How many times have you taken it, you follow up to actually get a deal done? How many calls, emails, texts, whatever the strategy is, how many times has that happened? And what's the average in order for that to happen for you to get a sale? That's what you would call your sales cycle. That's what you're going to call that sales cycle. That's what's going to, allow you to understand that process, that 102 days. What does that look like for you? That could be 45 for you. That could be 180 for you. But it's you have to know that in order for you to be able to properly plan exactly what you're going to do and exactly how your process works. That strategy that's going to allow you to continue to follow up, continue to, work that lead, continue to build that relationship, continue to be in the forefront of their mind when they think about selling. So how long does that take to convert? What are the steps needed to convert it? What are the processes that you're going to utilize to do so? You have to understand that mindset and going in it. And quite frankly, you have to have this in place, I would say, if not before marketing, at least very early on, or have the capacity to do so within whatever marketing system that you utilize. Because quite frankly, again, you will lose money if you cannot effectively follow up. There's just no way that you cannot, maybe a double oxymoron, but there's no way that you will not leave money if you do not have an effective follow-up strategy in place that you can utilize to continue to stay in contact with your prospects. All right. Is this resonating, guys? Let me know any feedback on some of this. We're definitely, want to make certain that you understand exactly, mindset, big picture here in terms of, exactly what you're looking for, what you should be looking for in terms of your own personal process. You have to have these things in place because we are in a sales business and we want to make certain that we can accomplish those goals that we have. All right. Sarah says, make great sense. Awesome. Sarah as well says, okay, thumbs up. Awesome. Great, great, great. All right. And again, stop if you have any questions, guys, or post them in the chat and we'll get to those. We're certainly going to open it up for Q&A for some deep diving into these concepts.